Choose you this day whom you will serve. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Budgie Buddies Joshua J and K presents It's PMW. Don't bite fake MPPT solar charge controller for HiFi home theater online environment end of April update. Hi, good morning J and K. What you guys got going on today? Try that again. Woohoo! Well, it is Tuesday, April 25th, 2023, and I just uploaded a video yesterday. I've got one more video to upload and edit before this one, I think, and I just wanted to go ahead and show you everything I can pull out of my current 12-volt system before I upgrade it to 24 volts. To help everything along, I got my propane stove hooked up. Ignore that box. That box was all the screws and parts stuff I collected over here to sort out later. And anyway, I got my stove so I can hook up or boil or get some water near boiling and use the coffee maker and just literally just pour it in. It takes about 3 or 4 minutes to make a pot of coffee, but now I can make a pot of coffee on the stove. Again, the exhaust fan is nice. It pulls the fumes and everything else out and keeps the propane smell, you know, the burned gas smell out of here. And, you know, open that window up, make sure some fresh air comes in when I do it if it's a little cold outside. All right, probably went on too long about that. The most important thing, though, is this. Okay, the TV and a computer, and now my electric bike. This cord right here, I ran it outside through the little hole right there to an outlet, and it runs straight up over to there, and it goes out to my electric bike. And I finally had enough electricity this morning to start plugging in my electric bike. Well, after the battery got charged up, caught up, you wouldn't believe it, but the charger, even I would assume it takes about 200 watts of power, and it was actually jumping around like the battery was charged up again. So I was like, you know, if I don't turn on the TV, I'm wasting electricity. You know what I mean? Just the panels are generating electricity I'm not using. Well, I turned that on and the voltage drops a little bit. It dropped down to 11.5. Now it's back up to 11.6, which means my bike charger, the computer, and the TV appear to be sustainable during daylight hours with the 6 panels, the 2 batteries, and the fake MPPT charge controller. Wait until I get a real charge controller. I get the 24-volt inverter, get those batteries hooked up so it's double the power out the same size line. Same with the solar panels. I can up those up to 80 volts on 12 volt, and when I get the 12 volt or 24 volt to 12 volt converter to do the double batteries in series back down to 12 volts for the 12 volt lights and the 12 volt stereo, then I'll be able to, you know, hook up the 24 volt converter that I've got coming in. And I think that's going to be more efficient at powering the TV and laptop. So not only is it sustainable apparently right now, it'll be even more sustainable to where maybe, I'm hoping, I can add my stereo and maybe even my subwoofer. I already know I can run the Roland by itself and play on my guitars and stuff, which I proud to say, Craig came over here and busted all my strings because he doesn't know how to play without an amplifier before I hooked the Roland up the other day. So I bought me 3 sets of strings, put some new ones on, and even got them in tune. Same with my bass, and I sat here for a couple hours, or a good 3 or 4 hours, just wearing my fingers out, jamming on the guitars. So now that I've got the capacity to run more than just the TV or the laptop or the charger, the bike charger, you know what I mean? Now I'm actually charging my fountain batteries. I just got done charging the tablet. Like I said, laptop's all topped off, and the electric bike's charging, and my battery's full. I'm getting more energy, so I turn the TV on, and again, it's maintaining. It's not dropping the voltage. So this appears to be completely sustainable. Anyway, going up to the 24 volts with an upgraded MPPT charge controller that does 60 amps, and it's upgradable, meaning It does 12, 24, 36, or 48 volt. It also, you can run the units side by side, batteries in series and parallel, and just, you know what I mean? And the list goes on with this specific model I chose to pick out. You all have to just wait and for what's coming on that. But anyway, when I get that, what I'm trying to get at is I've got a 10 amp wire running down the hill all the way out there about 350 feet to the solar panels in the, you know, the optimum spot where I get the sunlight in the least amount of shadow, as it goes from about 8:15 in the morning to about 4:15 to 4:45 in the afternoon is when it's not in the shade. That's the only spot I can find that's got that much sunlight right now within the 350 feet of 10 gauge wire I had run 120 volt 30 amp breaker up to this before I moved. Now it's running over to the solar panels. Well, the thing is with all the 12 volt solar panels that put out 18 to 21 volts, like I said, I tried to run them 24 volt or 40 to 42 volt input to this to see if it knocked it down to 12 volts like it's supposed to, but I found out it's fake MPPT. As soon as the battery tops off and the sun's bright, that thing trips out from over voltage. So I had to drop that back down to 12 volts, which means, again, this line appears, or it might be the charge controller, but most I ever got out of this thing with it at 24 volt input, charging the battery was 14 volts at 14 amps. When it's back down to 12 volt input, 18, 20 volt from the panels, it's, as you can see, about 14.8 volts, but it's only about 9 to 10 amps, maybe 11.5 amps at about 14.5 volts is the most I can get out of 12 volts. So that's only about a third or a half of what I'm actually expecting out of those panels. But the fact that that's not MPPT is trying to push, 24 to 30 amps through a 10 amp, 350 foot line. It's capable, but it's just not helping any that it's so long. But if I put the panels up with the new one at 12 volts before I get the converter, I'll be able to push up to 80 volts off the panel. I got 6 panels, 6 times 20 is 120, so I can run 3 sets. I can run 2 panel, 2 panel, 2 panel in parallel, and then run those in series and run them up to here. And then when I get 24 volt, it should do, I think, up to 120 or 140 volt, which means I should practically be able to wire all of those up at the moment. And when I get 8 panels, I can do 2, 2, 2, and 2, and then 4 sets of series to come in, at the maximum voltage. But the point is the higher the voltage, the more power is going to come into here off that smaller line. So that new charge controller I picked out is going to really solve, my single line 10 amp. It's quality barrier grade line, but it's, $350. I can't afford to go replace it, double it up, or anything else, but I can afford to put an expandable controller in here that's going to solve all my problems. And then when I eventually get this place moved on down the hill, I'll be even closer and I'll be able to run a shorter line and so on and so forth. By the way, where the blackberries were the other day, yeah, I got out there and I got my act together. That's just some plywood I found under the leaves that's going to go down and get burned. But yeah, I cleaned and cleared that place up. Nice. Got to do something.
Hey, we'll be on with the regular programming.
Whoa! All right, ladder with Crowder.
But needed to take.
Let's get it on.
To address some issues out there.
Like I said, be wasting electricity. Oh, there it goes. See, dropped to 11.5, 11.6, back up to 11.6. I think this is sustainable. Boom. Or maybe I'll have to turn it off every couple of seconds.
For going on years now.
Anyway,
since
time watching ladder with Crowder.
Living through.
Stop. Well, anyway, I like the ladder with Crowder, but and it kind of interrupted my video shoot. Anyway, I wanted to continue a few things. This right here picks up a bit of static when the converter is on, and same with that inverter when it's plugged into AC power. So that, except when it's hooked up to this specific Bluetooth dongle. I hook it up to the other Bluetooth dongle or any other thing, and if it's not actively putting out sound, those things get that buzz in it, and even some devices it still does. So this has got to go. I got a car stereo, 4-channel car stereo coming in with a remote to replace that with, and then I'll probably take this and repurpose it as a little subwoofer amplifier for that car stereo. I took this old Nokia 2V cell phone. I can't find a replacement glass for the screen because this is a great phone to watch with the stereo speakers on it for, you know, portable TV basically. But because it does have the ability to stay on while it's plugged in without the screen coming off, and it's got the good clock radio or clock display, I just went ahead and run it into a low powered adapter, and boom, now I got a clock I can sit here and watch all day to see what time it is. So then today, when I realized that, oh my goodness, I can charge my electric bike and I can watch TV and I can run my laptop at the same time, I was like, and I'm about to upgrade all this to 24 volt. I said, you know, it's time to go ahead and start expanding this because, you know, the wire running over here for the TV, but I can't plug a 3-prong in over here. I had to run another extension cord over there and that switch over there and everything. So I said, hey, wait a minute. I got that old computer power switch and these lights over here. I was like, these lights might waste electricity, but like I said, I got such a surplus, these little lights ain't gonna make no difference. They're actually handy because it lets me know now when my inverter's on from up here and I don't have to turn around and stare over there. And this is a master switch, and it's even labeled computer, monitor. I got this printer hooked up to my old Dolby Digital surround sound receiver, which is hooked up, you know what I'm saying, to my main speakers. And I went ahead and hooked this aux 1. I'll show you what that does here in a minute. Aux 2 goes over to the Roland amp, so when I want to play on the guitars, or if I want to use this as a supplement subwoofer for the RCA, and I've got enough power, which, yeah, it dropped to 11.4 volts. So this TV and the bike charger does use just a little more than the solar panels are putting out right now, but that's okay because I just turn the TV off every 2 hours for a half hour and it seems to build right back up, I would imagine. So we're gonna play around with that. Anyway, back to the audio system. That this aux 1 switch runs this extension cord over to here. Now from here, I can do two things. I can plug it to the outside, charging the bike, or I can unplug that, plug it into here, which runs over to my big 15-inch subwoofer. So basically what it'll be is, if I'm not charging the bike, I'll have master, the computer, laptop, TV, the stereo, the surround sound system, the primary subwoofer, and the Roland amp. Very nice. So that worked out perfect. I couldn't ask for a little better setup. And anyway, when I start doing a 24 volt upgrade, the new inverter is going over here. So is the control charger and everything. Because right here it's nice because I can flip around, look behind me, and press the buttons and everything, and monitor it. Same with that, I can reach over, turn it on and off. But I have to keep flipping around, looking around. Well, if it's all sitting right there, it doesn't matter if my TV's over here, or when I flip this thing around, the TV's over there, I'll be able to just look off to the side and see everything. Plus, since the batteries are right there, the run over from the charge controller to the batteries will be very short. So that'll all be really good, and that'll work out real great. So that's where all my electronics on my 24 volt system is going to end up, instead of over here in this corner. And I'm probably still going to use that power distribution setup, because that right there is just too cool. Computer, monitor, stereo, subwoofer 1, you know, and Roland, or, you know, bike charge or whatever. But right now, like I said, I got the 12 volt hooked up to these. I'll probably just leave that hooked up. That way, you know, if I don't want to run the big sound system at night and everything, eat up the battery, I can just use the 12 volt car stereo and everything. Or, so I get all the panels, maybe a couple of extra, get it all hooked up into high voltage, low capacity, up to my new MPPT real deal charge controller, up to 24 volts, up to a 24 volt inverter, up to a 30 amp 24 to 12 volt converter to run the fans and the you know, all the 12 volt devices, the furnace eventually, everything else. I may have to actually buy 2 of those to do that, one for the car stereo and the lights and everything, and the other for the furnace or the fans. But we'll see what the one I buy can handle. And for last and finally, with that 24 volt inverter and all these panels and everything working like it's supposed to, I think what I'm going to do is take the power line coming in from outside that goes to this main breaker, and I might go ahead and take it and run either run it from there to there, or run a separate line up inside the wall, you know, along the floor or something. But I'm going to hook that breaker up, or that outlet up to this up over there, so that when I turn this on, all the outlets and everything in here are powered on, so I can turn on a hot water heater if it has a capacity. I can try plugging in the refrigerator instead of having to run a separate cord. You know what I mean? And when I use the outside outlet over there instead of this makeshift one, this ungrounded one, it'll be off the GFCI, so it'll be protected. You know what I'm saying? Same with that outlet's GFCI, which I actually probably need to swap out, because that one there gets kind of trippy when I run the washing machine or stove or oven off of it. Blue outlet on Pumas, that one right there. So I've got a lot to look forward to in the next week or so. J&K, is that all you got to say today? Oh yeah, I wanted to show you what I had going on with the fan thing. What I've done right now to make a reversing switch is I use this out of a old chewed up set of Christmas lights, and the reason why I use it, since it's not polarized, it reverses and it makes a handy reverse switch. The downside is even just turned halfway up, this fan uses so much amp that this thing here blew the fuses, so I put some aluminum foil in there, and it's getting real hot right down here at the very bottom. Right here, it gets real hot. It hasn't melted or started smoking or anything yet, but I haven't really run this thing any more than halfway because it just hasn't gotten hot yet this year. But anyway, I got to be careful of that. I'm going to have to actually figure out a real way to solve this. I want to get some crimp connectors and, you know, just something, but I just can't get to the store to get the crimp connectors to make that more solid. But anyway, that's it. Let's try one more time.
There's no infidelity, any kind of physical abuse at all.
Okay.
And no, this was not.
What do y'all got going on today?
My then wife decided that she didn't
My
want
little
to
birdie's gonna do about it.
And in the state of Texas,
What's my
that
little
is
birdie's gonna do about
completely forbidden. It's been the most heartbreaking experience of my life. What I consider to be my deepest personal failure, and just so you know, my opinion on parenting and families have not changed. I've always believed that children need a mom and a dad, that divorce is horrible.
Alright,
But I still believe that children need a mom and a dad, and that divorce is horrible.
Alright, buddies. What's the little birdie's doing about it?
My beliefs don't matter.
Wowzer.
Texas, divorce is permitted when one party wants it.
Look at the little parakeetos.
So for well over a year, in the best interest, as well as efficiency.
Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it at least as much as I enjoy life to make it so far. There's a whole lot more to come, and I hope you're taking with you a lot of knowledge about what you can and can't expect from solar, and what you can and can't hook up with these things. If you want some technical diagrams, just let me know in the comments.